On March 3, 2011, the Jewish Chronicle announced the discovery of dozens of netbooks from Jordan. We are still in the process of unraveling this secret, but one thing is certain. These small books have the potential to reconstruct our thoughts on religion, life, and our position in the universe. The 70 ancient books, which are made up of smaller and smaller than the size of a credit card, may make us write the history of early Christianity again. It is believed that these amazing books, tied with metal rings and covered with complex symbols and secrets, will go back to the 1st century. The carbon year measurement of the leather pieces found together confirmed that this piece is more than 2,000 years old. Experts say that this discovery is more likely to be a more important discovery than a famous social document. This text, which is a mixture of ancient Hebrew script and cryptic symbols, is full of ancient messianic images. It contains descriptions of menorah, the early days of the Jewish temple, the palm tree that bore the fruit, and the mention of the Passover. It provides an interesting clue to the life and faith of early Christian communities. However, these relics are controversial. One Israeli Bedouin claimed that these books belonged to his family and that his great-grandfather had found them. Now, there is a fierce legal and ethical dispute between the Bedouin family and the religious authorities over the ownership of these precious relics. David Elkington, the leader of the British research team, who is studying this book, said the following: "It is a great privilege to be able to share this discovery with the world. It is surprising enough to think that these books may have been held by the early church priests. Preliminary research has already revealed the descriptions and symbols of Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection. If these books are confirmed as authentic, they will be of significant importance in social documents. These small books will not only serve as a reminder to Christians, but also to those who are curious about the roots of one of the most influential religions in the world. The purpose of these books remains a mystery, but it has been confirmed that the names Jesus and Simon are mentioned. This Simon may be the one who helped Jesus on his way to the cross, or another Simon who led a great rebellion against the Roman Empire in 1350. These clues increase the possibility that these books are ancient relics of thousands of years and arouse great interest in historians. These amazing discoveries are also gaining attention on the internet and are called the Cesset. This is simply the word for ancient books. Some experts have raised the possibility that these books are a part of the special book of the Bible, the Book of John. This is because they contain religious symbols and names, and there are many books that have not yet been sealed. The place of discovery is a hidden cave in Jordan. This area has a suitable historical background to hide important relics of the past. After Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 AD, early Christians fled to this area. Even before these books were discovered, archaeologists had discovered tablets, ancient relics, scrolls, and perfumes in this area. However, no one expected to discover a new type of relic that could change the knowledge of the Bible. Recently, archaeologists discovered a small set of books that they had never seen before. On the covers of these books, which are made of metal, are engraved a bell tree and 7 candles. This is considered a powerful symbol in Judaism. The texts in the books are written in the Arabic language, which was used thousands of years ago in the Jesuit era, and the Hebrew language, which was used in the Jesuit era. The combination of these languages suggests that these books were not made at once, but were edited over the centuries. Despite the difficulty of deciphering ancient texts, archaeologists did not give up. In the process of research, some Greek words were found, which made the work more complicated. After a few days of careful research, Dr. Samuel Zinner found a strange Hebrew letter in the form of a grid. These letters could be read horizontally, vertically, and diagonally. The arrangement of this grid form became an important key for the team to decipher some of this mysterious text. As the research continued, more symbols related to Judaism were revealed. The 7 candles, the lantern, the menorah, the bowl of the temple, the octagonal star, and the tilted cross are examples of this. However, the most shocking discovery was Jesus' image, which is the earliest known description of Jesus. In the portrait, there was a picture of Jesus wearing a thorn crown, and the inscription, Israel's Savior, was engraved nearby. Scientists were shocked. Could it be that this image was actually drawn by someone who had seen Jesus? The most difficult element to decipher was the description of the menorah, a lantern with 7 candles, which is a very sacred object in Jewish tradition. This sacred object was kept in the most holy area of the temple and could only be seen by the archdiocese. Since it was forbidden to describe the menorah, it raised questions about how the artist saw it. The researchers speculated that these sacred and forbidden images could explain why these books were hidden. It seems that these books contained secrets that should not have been shared. David Elkington, who helped to make these books known to the world, said that this was a monumental discovery in Christianity. He argued that these books may even be older than the works of Apostle Paul, and that it may be one of the earliest Christian relics ever discovered. The idea that early Christians may have touched the relic stimulated his imagination and aroused reverence. However, not all of them shared Elkington's passion. In particular, the Jordanian authorities and skeptics who found these books classified them as relics. They pointed out similar copies that were sold for collection in souvenirs or online, and even mocked this discovery. Some even argued that a wanderer passing through the cave had accidentally found it. In order to solve the problem, the researchers needed decisive evidence. They had to go through a thorough examination of all 70 books. Whether these books were authentic from the 1st century, or whether they were made to deceive people, would be decided on the day of the auction. If they were authentic, these books could rewrite history. If not, they would still remain one of the most elaborate relics in the world. These small books were almost completely ignored, but 9 decisive scholars came forward and found them. This team was concerned that this rare discovery would not be well received, so they decided to go ahead and check the authenticity of the books. This independent group had nothing to do with David Elkington, who claimed ownership of the books. Instead, they were composed of retired geologists, ancient metal experts, and ancient language experts, who were suitable to solve this mystery. They began their journey to reveal the truth under the guidance of Robert Hayward, a retired Hebrew professor. The first step was to measure the connection between metal and time. If the butterfly was truly ancient, the letters engraved on it were also likely to be ancient. One of the key tests was to check for radiation. Professor Webb explained that the butterfly contained a radioactive element that naturally disappears over time. However, as the atomic bomb experiment began in 1945, radioactive particles could leave traces of the butterfly. If these books did not contain radioactive elements, it would prove that these books were not made after 1945. The results were shocking. There were no traces of radiation. This meant that the butterflies in these books were not modern. The additional tests conducted at the University of Surrey provided more evidence to support this claim. The results of metal analysis showed that the butterflies were identical to those found in ancient Rome. This supported the possibility that these books were made over 1,800 years ago. What made the discovery even more convincing was the unique quality of the butterflies. Contrary to modern butterflies, these books were filled with impurities and were much easier to break. In the analysis of the microscope, small crystals and tiny holes were found in the butterflies. This is a feature that takes centuries to form. All the evidence was overwhelming. These books were not modern creations, but ancient relics from the early Christian era. When these books were identified as authentic, they became an amazing source of information for understanding the lives and beliefs of early Christians. However, a new question arose. Why were these books made? What role did these books play in the world long ago? Even though these books were identified as ancient relics, their purpose remains a mystery. Why did the early Christians make these small books? And what did they try to convey or hide? The fact that many of these books are sealed raises even more questions. Why did they write them down so that no one could read them? Some researchers believe that these books were not meant to be read, but rather that they were meant to be used as relics. Relics are believed to provide protection or bring good luck. The fact that all of these books are tied in a metal ring supports this theory. The letters themselves are interesting. Some of the letters suggest the style after 1315, but this does not mean that the content is much older. These books are likely to have been written to preserve the stories and teachings of the past. The images in these books are also attractive. Philip Davis, a professor at Sheffield University, was fascinated by a certain image in one of his books. This image is a typical cross. In the background is a small building and entrance that looks like Jesus' tomb. On the other side is a wall that looks like a cross. Professor Davis analyzed the details and compared it to other images of Jerusalem. He concluded that this image is a cross outside the city. This seems to have captured an important moment in Christian history. As researchers explore the meaning of these books, concerns about their future are growing. Some people are worried that some of these books will be sold or even destroyed in the market. However, these concerns did not affect scholars like Dr. Margaret Barker, the former president of the School of Medicine. Dr. Barker believes that these books may be closely related to the books mentioned in the Book of John. Dr. Barker believes that these books can only be opened by the Messiah. She also emphasizes the ancient texts that Jesus taught to his closest disciples. Dr. Barker believes that these books may preserve the Christian tradition of Hebrew and provide a rare opportunity to see the faith of early Christians. If this is true, we can change our understanding of this time. David Elkington shares Barker's belief and emphasizes the importance of preserving these books. He argues that these books should be studied and shared with the world. Many researchers believe that these books act as a kind of testimony. In other words, they are physical evidence of the teachings and actions of the Messiah. The symbols and images in the books are designed to convey a message to the people of the present and future generations. Some articles mention the message of the Messiah who will bring freedom, peace, and justice from the Roman tax system. This offers a strong hope to the people who lived under the Roman rule. Historically, other metal books have been discovered, and some have been identified as genuine. However, this small book is different from any other. The biggest question remains: what secrets are hidden in this sealed page? Whatever the answer, these books have already succeeded in restoring interest in the early Christian world and untold stories. Dr. Barker believes that these books have been discovered by the Messiah. Dr. Barker continues to investigate these mysterious books. Surprisingly, some parts of the books can still be read, which provides a valuable insight into the lives and beliefs of the authors. Unlike traditional secrets, the text of this book may have been rewritten if there had been a mistake. This book may be an original work or a detailed reproduction. The illustrations are also fascinating. On one page, there is a picture of a 7-leaf clover and a 7-leaf clover and a stylized bee on the other. Dr. Barker and her colleague, Dr. Samuel Jenner, found that some letters were arranged in a cluster or triangle shape, not in a straight line. This symmetrical arrangement reflects the structure of creation described in ancient literature. Dr. Barker claims that these patterns have embodied the worldview and the hope for the present and future. The books in this cluster also reveal an amazing relationship with metal crafting. This is an art that was probably performed by the priests of the temple and can be seen in the metal craft often used in the Hebrew Bible. For example, Isaiah 1, verse 25 says, "The word seraph is also related to the beings of heaven, but it can also mean a craftsman." This connection is clearly shown in Isaiah 6, verse 6. Here, the seraph performs a symbolic act in the form of a bee. Dr. Barker believes that these books are not just relics. They play the role of testifying to the resilience of the ancient priests who preserved the sacred tradition during the exile. These books engrave their wisdom in complex patterns and symbols and provide an extraordinary window to see the spiritual and cultural life of the world. This plays the role of a bridge that connects ancient customs and modern understanding. Texts play the role of metal crafting in the ancient religious tradition, especially when it comes to the importance of metal crafting in the creation of sacred objects such as gold calf. In Zechariah 11, verse 18 to 21, it is mentioned that metal craftsmen are associated with magic or silence. This is also confirmed in the oracle page. The writings on this surface are connected to the prophecies of King Josiah and Jeremiah in the 7th century BC. In Jeremiah's vision, there is a boiling pot that can be associated with magic. The expression, "I have tested you," is a metaphor for a young man who is trying to purify people's evil by purifying metal. This is similar to the stubborn nature of a butterfly that is not purified. The text emphasizes complex characteristics such as symbols that have many meanings. In some pages, the letters that point in various directions contain patterns that gather around the symbol of God. These patterns reveal a deep theological meaning and design the image of the Lord and Messiah. These surfaces represent the sacred symbol, the craftsmanship, and the hidden message. They preserve the worldview of the creators and provide scholars with complex and elaborate puzzles. These small books provide a rare window into the ancient world and combine faith, craftsmanship, and mystery. They provide a valuable insight into the spiritual practice, tradition, and struggle of the community related to the work of the priest and metal. Their elaborate patterns, layered symbols, and encrypted messages show the deep effort to preserve the sacred knowledge and to challenge the modern understanding and connect the material world with the spiritual world in an unexpected way. As proof of faith, as a tool of sacred symbolism, or as a reflection of the culture that struggles with change, these small books provide a unique insight into the hope, belief, and history of humanity. They record the most sacred things and emphasize the constant motivation of humanity to protect them,